Now, Sherrod Brown goes to the Senate floor, says he took a look back at history. And Stalin and Hitler, they didn't want unions. So I went to an admittedly defective and yet from time to time useful research tool. That would be Wikipedia. And we have the German Labor Front. Now, my German's a little rusty. Maybe Sherrod Brown's German is sharp these days. Deutsche Arbeitsfront, the DAF, was the National Socialist, that is Nazi, trade union organization which replaced the Weimar Republic trade unions because of rampant corruption in the existing unions after his rise to power. Now, the DAF's leader was Robert Ley, who stated its aim. You have to understand, I'm reading tiny, tiny computer font here. Who stated its aim as to create a true social and productive community. Oh, sounds so liberal. Now, theoretically, the DAF existed to act as a medium through which workers and owners could mutually represent their interests. Wages were set by 12 DAF trustees. The employees were given relatively high set wages, security of work. Dismissal was increasingly made difficult. Social security programs were started by the group. Leisure programs were started, canteens and so forth. Therefore, generally, the German workers were satisfied by what DAF gave them in repaying for their absolute loyalty. Wow, imagine. Employment contracts created under the Weimar Republic were abolished and renewed under new circumstances in the DAF. Employers could demand more of their workers, while at the same time workers were given increased security of work and increasingly... It's a workers' paradise, Nazi Germany. It's a workers' paradise. I'm reading it right here. With the German Labor Front, DAF membership was theoretically voluntary, but any workers in any area of German commerce or industry would have found it hard to get a job without being a member. Look at that, a union shop. A union shop, just like with the National Education Association. In so many states, you can't work unless you're a member. Oh, the indecency of it. Membership required a fee within the range of whatever the Reichsmark value was, depending on the category member fell into, a large scale of 20 membership groups. Let's see, a large amount of income, substantially large amount of income was raised through fees. There were two main components of the German Labor Front, or the DAF. Let's see here. The National Socialist Factory Organization and the National Socialist Trade and Industry Organization. There are also subgroups. And I can go on, but why should I? Another relatively stupid and at least partially illiterate United States senator who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, but it doesn't much matter because that's all they get paid to do. Talk, and pass laws. Now, Mr. Producer, let us cue cut 5 up again. Notice the man's emphasis on independent unions and yet nobody who is serious or rational. So you drones don't count. Nobody who's serious or rational would debate the point that these government unions are an appendage of the Democrat Party and an appendage of government, particularly the NEA. So when he says independent, he's trying to have it both ways. Cut 5 again. This would be Sherrod Brown, Democrat, Ohio. Go.
As a nation, you know, I look back in history, in some of the worst governments we've ever had. You know that one of the first things they did? They went after the trade unions. Yes. Hitler didn't want unions. Stalin didn't want unions.
Liar, yes.
Mubarak didn't want independent unions. These autocrats in history don't want independent unions. So when I see in Egypt, or if I see in the old Soviet Russia, or I see in history tells me about Germany, I'm not comparing what's happening to the workers in Madison or in Columbus to Hitler and Stalin.
Stop. Well, what are you doing, rambling aimlessly? What's your point there? Why bring it up if it's not relevant? Honestly, I'm trying to follow you. You sound like an idiot. Who's that guy that sounds like this? What's that comedian's name that's annoying? Short little guy. And my guys don't know. Talks like that. Anyway, at least you have the facts. Sherrod Brown is incapable of having facts, but at least you folks have the facts. Do you know what these mass murdering genocidal maniacs do? What they actually abolish? Liberty. Representative government. Whatever constitution exists. Private property rights. Freedom to practice your religion. What else do? They balkanize societies, turning one group against another. See, they need devils. They need enemies within their borders. What else do? Oh, they nationalize businesses either through the front door or back door. These genocidal maniacs. Yes, Gilbert Gottfried, that's it. What else do? They centralize power in their capital. They centralize power. They diminish the role of the individual. They want to control their citizen, remold them, engineer them, change them. They want to control what they eat, how they live, where they live. They want to control their mobility, where they can go. They want access to their bank accounts and their health information. All kinds of stuff. You understand that, Sherrod Brown? That's what they want. So my question to Sherrod Brown, my question to Sherrod is this. Now that you've been caught to be the liar that you are, or the illiterate that you are, let me ask you this, Sherrod. What about the rest of what these sick barbarians did? The centralizing of government, the destroying of the rule of law, the abolishing in part or whole of private property rights, the abolishment, seizing industries, controlling industries, crony capitalism, national socialism. What about all that, Sherrod? Against those things, too? I'm just curious, because these soft tyrannies can get out of hand if you understand what I'm trying to say, Sherrod. These are sick people who come up with these pathetic analogies, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, then we have our president. In one of the great book promotions in modern history, this Kenneth Walsh pushing out some of the things that Obama told him. I'm not going to read it directly because I don't care about reading the book and promoting it. That said, you Tea Party activists, your president considers you racist. Oh, there's this undertow of racism. So in other words, we now live in a country where the president accuses his opponents, and he does it in a really vile way, whispers it to the media, where there's an undercurrent, they disagree with me. There's this racist, undercurrent, racist. Where the President of the United States believes that tens of millions of people in this country who disagree with his leftist agenda are racist. So now if you believe in liberty and the Constitution and defending the rule of law and private property rights, if you believe in defending decisions about your own health care, if you're concerned about government policies that are driving up food prices and energy prices, you're a racist. Isn't that clever? First black president, well, he's the first black and white president. Let's be honest about that, too. Now considers you a racist. So, the fact of being a conservative or a constitutionalist or a libertarian or not a leftist, the fact of not being a leftist now makes you a racist. Oh, and you know what the liberal will say? Well, I don't mean you. I mean the rest of them. No, you mean all of us. So now big government socialism, or I'll just call it what I always do. So now statism is anti-racist, and constitutionalism is racist. Now, isn't that kind of odd to you? Let's look at statism in the extreme. Sherrod Brown brought us to this point. Sherrod, let us look at Stalin and Hitler, aggressive tyrannies, statism run amok. Were they racist? Yes. Did they hate? Yes. Was it rule of law or rule of man? Rule of man. Were they centralized? Yes. Oh, Sherrod, don't drag us down this path. Let me underscore something and be as clear as I am capable of behind this microphone. Those of us who stand with the Constitution, those of us who stand with the Declaration of Independence, those of us who want dispersed, divided governmental power within the federal government and between the federal government and the states and among the states, we are the ones who oppose the tyrannies of the past and the present. We are the ones who believe in individual liberty regardless of race, religion, or anything else. We are the ones who are going to save humanity, not you. You, dragging the society over the precipice. We are not going with you. Sherrod, you jackass. That's right. Mark, why are you so negative? Well, why the hell wouldn't you be? This is a United States Senator. We have a president who blithely calls millions and millions of Americans who've never said a racist thing in their lives, who've never done a racist thing in their lives, racist. The hell is this country coming to? Because now you believe in liberty and the Constitution and private property rights and unalienable rights generally? You're a racist? Now because you don't believe this country should be transformed into some disgusting, centralized, authoritarian regime, now you're racist? What kind of senator is this? What kind of president is this? Then he compares himself to Reagan. Let me tell you something, Obama. You could never be a Reagan. I don't even think you could be a Jimmy Carter. You're the worst of the worst. And as for you, Sherrod Brown, you won't even be a footnote to a footnote in history. You'll always be a backbencher. Your back will always be against the wall in the back of the United States Senate, where it belongs, because you're pathetic. Now I think we're clear. I think Sherrod Brown of Ohio has earned himself a board member position on the Institute for Civility, the National Institute for Civility at University of Arizona in Tucson. Yes, he'd fit in perfectly. Maybe Obama could go there too, since he considers those people who disagree with him to be harboring really racism. Yes, what a magnificent political class we have in this country. We'll be right back. I just can't seem to get off this subject because Sherrod Brown really has triggered my thinking as he speaks from the gutter. Now, Stalin, much like Hitler, created a cult of personality. They used to call him a historic figure. I don't like this cult of personality, historic figure stuff. We elect somebody to office, Senate, House, President, Governor, state legislature, what have you, not to transform our society, not to draw attention to themselves, not as self-aggrandizers, but to follow the Constitution of the federal government or the state if you're a governor, or the local charter if you're a town council, mayor, and so forth, to do your jobs. We don't need you to break the rules, to push the boundaries, because you're egomaniacs and consider yourselves godlike with a lowercase g. And yet it seems to me more and more these hack politicians who are not that intelligent, very few of whom have real-world experience, think that their job when they get in office is to promote themselves. I don't just mean as your typical garden variety politician seeking votes and helping your constituents. No, I mean that they want to go down in history as something special rather than just do their job. So in order to go down in history as something special, these left-wing politicians think they have to destroy things in order to rebuild them. Why do you think Obama stands by Obama? He doesn't even know what the hell is in Obama. Not only because it advances his ideology of statism, but because he wants for the rest of time people to be thanking him as this great man who stood up against the multitudes, or the masses as they'd like to call us, and did the right thing for them whether they wanted it or not. All those fawning stories when he's out of office, that's what he wants. He's not going to get them. We'll be right back. On the nightly update on the Middle East goes like the nightly update I gave 2 days ago. In Libya, Muslims are killing Muslims. In Egypt, Muslims are killing Muslims. In Yemen, Muslims are killing Muslims. Jordan, Muslims are killing Muslims. The rest of the Middle East, Muslims are killing Muslims. There you go. So all these shows, I have an expert from this paper, an expert from this group, an expert. That's the bottom line. And the rebels in Libya, reading some of these stories of they're murdering their prisoners and so forth. This damn democracy movement, I'll tell you, I can't wait till I see some democracy somewhere. Don't hold your breath. Actually, some of you go ahead and hold it and let it go when I say.